Hey, what's up? It's Comic95, the Savior, and for this video, I am going to be talking about something that is so crazy to me that I've talked about on my channel before, and that is Japan blaming foreigners for literally everything. I've said this before as well as recently, and you guys got mad when I was talking about it in my one of my most recent videos where I did a journal talking about the racism that I was experiencing living in Japan, and in particular within my apartment building in my neighborhood. Well, to confirm what I was just talking about in that video and in that comment section for that video, they recently published Ibaraki, what was it? I need to find the actual article. I'm going to link it for you guys. I'm not going to bother to read all of it right here, but my friend actually sent me this article from Japan Today. Again, it wasn't Japan Today that made it, but they're the ones that brought it to the attention of us foreigners, because we all know they're not going to highlight this in Japan. They don't want to get any more negative publicity. But yeah, Ibaraki Health Center, you guys. These are medical professionals, these are doctors, these are scientists, nurses, etc. Not just any old random Joe, not some random Japanese nationalists. They literally released a document they sent out to everyone telling them that they should refrain from going out to eat with foreigners in order to avoid getting the coronavirus. And they should also wear a mask when talking to us. Now, these might seem like common sense tips, but the problem is that they specify foreigners, not people in general, not Japanese people, the overwhelming majority of this country, but they specifically said for you to, make sure that you don't go out with foreigners. Sorry, my phone's blowing up. Now, normally, I wouldn't have any problem with this if they simply said, oh, don't go out to eat, don't do whatever. Okay, fine, makes sense. But the problem that I have is when you specifically single out, not only just another race, but a minority. And the problem that I have with this is several things actually. But the two biggest problems that I have is this is deflection and a distraction. Japan doesn't want to deal with the crap that they're doing themselves, Japanese people, that's spreading the virus. And two, you are literally encouraging more racism with a problem that already exists. And it's so funny that Japanese people turn a blind eye to it and act like they have no idea until you make them confront the fact that what they're doing is indeed racist. I've literally had a bilingual Japanese girl in the comment section where I wasn't really trying to tell her off, but let her know, like, please stop. She was trying to explain how, maybe, it's just because, foreigners like you, they're so beautiful, blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking like, okay, sweetheart, I get it. I know you're trying to compliment me, make it sound nice or whatever, but that has nothing to do with it. The act of it is racist. Japanese people could not, Asian people in general would have a heart attack if you came to the US. And prior to this virus situation, but even now, everyone was avoiding you. Places wouldn't serve you. Places wouldn't rent you. You couldn't handle that. But come to their country, they do it to you. It's not even just happening in Japan. I live in Japan, and this channel is about Japan mostly, so I'm going to keep it on the topic of talking about my home country, the US, and Japan in particular. But this issue is going on in China too, and I can imagine in Korea and other places. So there's already this fear of sitting next to a foreigner, of talking to a foreigner. And now you not only have people talking amongst themselves that we are the danger. You not only have the news only broadcasting the virus cases in the US and in other countries everywhere but Japan's real issue, but now you have this health board basically sending out a document to everybody within that prefecture. It happened in Ibaraki, so not all of Japan, but word spreads, travels, etc. And I feel sorry for any foreigner living there. You literally have them telling everybody, stay away from you. Imagine the backlash that would get if somewhere like Los Angeles released a statement telling people to avoid Asians. Because let's be real, like I said, love it or hate it, I'm not going to be PC with you all. I'm saying it exactly how it is. Who started this virus? Where did it come from? China. I know you're going to say, well, China is not Japan. You all are all the same race. You're all the same race, just like black people are all the same race. You all didn't care whether that black person was a black American or if they were a black Nigerian or a black Jamaican. It didn't make a difference to you. You were avoiding black people because of the Ebola outbreak. Okay, Now that we have talked about that, now that we've made it fair, okay, because we had an outbreak too, yours was not only, I won't say more deadly, Ebola was more deadly for those that got it, but yours has infected more people and nobody knew how to treat that either. And it went worldwide. It wasn't stopped. Now imagine if people treated you guys the same way that you treated us. You couldn't handle that. And that's why I said that I'm tired of like being like, you know, the best friend, the yes man, whatever you want to call it. We literally defend everybody, have their back. Anytime another group is being, you know, talked down on or mistreated or whatever by other races. But then those same races go back and do it to us. And in this situation, let me remind the white people that are going to come and play Captain Save-A-Hole because y'all, you know, yellow fever people, your feelings are going to get hurt on this. You guys are the minorities that they're talking about. If you live in Japan, I've said this several times before, there are not a lot of us here. Japan is white. Everybody that's living in Japan, almost everybody who is not Asian is white. The majority of foreigners in Japan come from other Asian countries. There's a ton of Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, what do they call them? Singaporeans, whatever you want to call yourselves, Indians, etc. People from Indonesia. There's people literally from everywhere. Those are the foreigners that make up the majority of us. But those aren't the ones they're talking about, because let's be real. When you say Gaijin, foreigner, whatever, the first thing that pops into a Japanese person's mind is a white person. And it's not just because they have an obsession with you guys. It's because you're the ones that clearly stand out in a crowd. Yes, I'm going to stand out much more than a white person. But like I said, how many Black people are actually living in Japan? Not many. And the majority of Black people here, they're normally either someone that's in the US, you know, military, whatever, or they're doing some study abroad or working for a year and they're going to go back home. Black people don't stay here long term. There are Black people that have been living here long term. There's going to be somebody that's been married here for 40 years. We get it all. But like I said, the numbers are so microscopic. We are not what's thought of. So when things go around that are anti-foreigner and that are racist, like people not renting to you and, you know, saying that they don't allow people that speak English or whatever the case is, this is hurting you guys, white folks, not me. There's not a lot of us. So when I'm speaking about racism, don't look at my skin complexion. I did not say Black people. I'm talking about foreigners. There are videos that I have that are specifically about Blacks, and there will be moments in this video, like how I just got through talking about, that is race specific. But this is hurting all of us. This is not about white versus Black. You are officially a part of the minority club if you're white and living in Japan. Welcome to the club. You have privilege over the rest of us minorities, so don't get it twisted. But you are now a minority because the majority of people here in Asia are, Asia are white. The majority of people in Asia, in Japan in particular, are Japanese. Even within the minority pool, you are a minority because the majority of foreigners here, I believe, are actually Chinese. It's either Chinese or Vietnamese, one or the other. Chinese, Vietnamese, and Korean, I think, make up the top three, you know, whatever. So, yeah. My point is basically this. I'm really bothered and disturbed by that they don't see that double standard. And these are the same people that, you know, I said this in my video about that too. Now, people got upset and were furious over the whole Black Lives Matter protests, etc. here. But now all of a sudden people are understanding when, you know, the whole Stop Asian Hate thing. And I want to make it very clear. I don't believe in being racist or, you know, harming anyone based off of their race. Japanese people are not responsible for the coronavirus, and even Chinese people, they are not. Unless you personally created this virus, you have nothing to do with it. You are not your country's government. You are not the bad guys from your country. I do not believe in going around hating people based off of their race, their nationality, their country of origin, none of that. But what I am saying is there's clear double standard and bias. It's okay for them to do racist stuff to us. They can generalize us. They can stereotype us. They can tell people to avoid us, stay away from us because of the virus. But we can't do that to them. And that's the other ironic part. Look at that shit. You are the race. You are the people who brought this shit on. And you have the audacity to be discriminated against us? So much irony. And then I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and be like, okay, well, the numbers did increase allegedly after they let in more foreigners, but then it's like, this is your fault and your problem. I'm going to be real with you. If you came to Japan within the last 2 years, I'm not going to lie, you kind of a part of the problem. They should not have been letting foreigners in last year, and they definitely should not have been letting in foreigners this year either. If you came to Japan in 2020 or 2021, that's a little bit problematic. Even if you weren't somebody that was directly carrying the virus, it's very likely somebody on your plane had it, and you might, be asymptomatic, whatever the case might be. You might have tested negative for it, but then test positive later. Who knows? My point is basically this, and I just got a message. Okay, oh, God, that scared me. But anyway, so yeah, what was I talking about? God, I'm losing track of everything. I'm so like frustrated with all of this because again, like you can't do this to them, but they can do it to you basically. It's not fair. And I'm not even trying to get even. It's just look at how this made you feel. Why would you do it back to us? And then it's not even like we started it. So it's like, oh, like, they're just getting revenge on foreigners for killing them or whatever. These are two completely different countries for starts. And secondly, this started I'm not talking about the virus even starting here. I'm talking about the prejudice stuff. Even last year, there was stuff going around, people trying to avoid Chinese people and avoiding foreigners within Japan. But, now I remember I was talking about people being a part of, the problem. They shouldn't have been letting in foreigners. But once again, that was their own issue. But to play devil's advocate, it's not just foreigners that were, a part of this problem. It was Japanese people too. Because they were also allowing Japanese people to re-enter the country, which that shouldn't have been happening either. To be totally honest, this is how I'm going to put it. And this isn't going to sound very nice, but, this is how I see it. Japan should have made it clear that which I believe they did, like how every other country did, if you leave the country during this time, you are not allowed to come back in. And foreigners lost their mind over it because a lot of people were stuck outside of the country for some time. I'm pretty sure everybody's back by now, but a lot of people couldn't come back for a long time. And in Japan's defense, I must say this. For starts, they were trying to keep the numbers down. Secondly, you shouldn't have left the country. They made it very clear. If I recall, like every other country, there was like a set deadline where if you left the country, after this date, they weren't going to let you come back in. A lot of you guys stupidly decided you're going to take your spring break and leave anyway. And you thought that because you had permanent residency, they were going to let you back in, which in all fairness, because they did let Japanese people come back in, I have mixed feelings on that. But I will say at the end of the day, being a permanent resident is not the same as being a legitimate citizen. And for that very reason, unless you truly had a Japanese passport, I have to side with Japan on that. I can agree with them with not letting you in with permanent residency. Have to agree. Hate to say that. But with that said, that's their choice as a country. That's literally, stabbing you in the back. They're saying, hey, come back to our country, grow our economy. But then at the same time, whispering to the natives here, hey, by the way, don't eat with these people. Don't talk to them. Avoid them. They already do that crap. They've been doing that since long before this whole virus pandemic situation. And now it's just gotten even worse. Now they've mentally told themselves, especially if you're, a dark-skinned person like myself, they've told themselves, basically the darker the foreigner, the dirtier they must be. The higher the risk you have of getting the virus, the poorer they might be, whatever the case is. They're avoiding foreigners even more now. Now you have the media telling them to do it too. The media has blamed us for the numbers going up, everything. How is everything being linked back to us in every city, every prefecture, everything? It's never a Japanese person that you let back into the country. It's never the Japanese guy that went on the business trip. It's never the Japanese guy that went on vacation. It's never the Japanese guy that went to another prefecture or another city. You always assume if somebody gets infected, it must be able to get traced back to a foreign resident. Never, ever, ever does it have to do with a Japanese person that went somewhere and got it. There are extreme right-wing Japanese people on Twitter, for example, that are sharing misinformation, talking about how out of all of the virus cases, only one of them was Japanese, or none of them were Japanese people that, have gotten the virus. It's all foreigners. And here goes my thing. That's not true. But let's say it were true. Does it make it right or make anything any better to go around boasting that and saying that? Would you feel like it's okay if those numbers and those things were true in the US? Because this is going to touch a lot of people, make a lot of people pissed off. I'm going to say it how it is. Good example of this, concentration camps in the US. Japan was not the holy place that it is right now with Hello Kitty and anime. And with that said and done, y'all country, y'all emperor, and everything was just as effed up as the US's president. And considering what the US was like back then, as well as what Japan was like back then, Those camps are justified for that reason alone. Sorry, saying it how it is. Y'all don't want to hear that. Y'all got reparations. We didn't. Keep that in mind. But on top of that, okay, you don't know what people's loyalty is within your country. You don't know what these people are willing to do or not willing to do, what they're going to do, what they're not going to do. You can justify the reasoning in using concentration camps. I do not believe in abuse, slavery, nothing else. Totally, of course, as a Black person. But again, what do you think Japan is going to do to foreigners living in their country if something like that were to happen? Y'all don't want to talk about that side of things, though. And so that's what I'm getting at. We always are so quick, especially as Black people, we are so quick to sympathize for other races of people. And we let them screw and fuck us over right under their nose. And don't nobody say shit. Like I said, look at those stories and articles about Black people getting evicted in China, the place where it actually originated from. Not even being allowed to go to American restaurants like McDonald's, being kicked out out of fear of them having the virus. Now, y'all country really did start that crap. And Japan was one of the first places to have tons of people that had it, thanks to that Diamond Princess, whatever, cruise ship that was parked here, as well as the huge number of Chinese tourists that are here. And Japanese people are constantly going on business trips to Asia, all throughout the place, especially China. And on top of that, all of that is not enough. Japan, unlike places like the US, I had a stupid Black guy leave me a message saying prostitution isn't legal. It might as well be. We know what goes on inside these places, brothels and everything else, host clubs, girls bars, all of these little stupid skies or whatever. We know what really goes on inside of these places, what people really do, how they really make extra money. And even if they're not doing anything else, you get what's really going on. It's unnecessary, body to body, skin to skin, super close, upfront and personal, flirtatious conversation, everything breeding grounds, alcohol that will lead to someone getting the virus. You don't see them complaining about these places and trying to shut them down. There's no social distancing on public transportation. There's no social distancing in stores, restaurants. Everything is about making money. Japan has done nothing, and they've been lying to the people here about the number of cases. There have been no vaccinations, no real vaccinations being done yet. Y'all freaking out in the US about everybody not being able to get a vaccine shot yet. Japan has done nothing so far. And there's no excuse for it. Even if you, regardless of what your thoughts are on the vaccine, I know a lot of people don't want to get it, especially Black people, but regardless of what your thoughts are about the vaccination, you should have the option to get it. And considering that they want to have the Olympics here, they most certainly should have been on it. They've done nothing. The only thing this country has done is repeatedly blame foreigners for everything. Anything happens at any given time, it's always the foreigner's fault, always. Something's dirty, must be a foreigner. Something's broken, a foreigner must have done it. Someone stole something, a foreigner must have did it. Someone got hurt, someone's beaten, battered, whatever, must have been, they must have a foreign spouse. Couldn't be a Japanese person. It's not even in their vocabulary and mind to assume or think that their people are capable of doing something wrong. And even with spreading a virus. So for some magical reason, Japanese people are not capable of spreading the virus. Even although these motherfuckers don't wash their hands, they ain't got no hot water, no soap. And even when you give it to them, they go straight out the bathroom, out into the real world. They pick their ass, they pull out wedgies, they dig in their nose, they dig in their ear, all on public transport. And it's totally culturally acceptable here. They don't wear gloves when handling food. Yes, but definitely it's the foreigner's fault. It's gotta be us. We're the dirty ones. We're the ones spreading the virus. Definitely not you pure, perfect Japanese people, right? The majority of foreigners that are even in this country right now have been here for several years. We are not new. There are hardly any foreigners that have just been let into the country. The majority of us left because if the world is coming to an end, this is the last place they want to be. Somewhere racist, expensive, and that treats their guests like garbage. We complain about the US, etc., but man, Japan you ain't shit in Japan. They don't give a fuck about you. If you living in Japan, you are literally solely here for yourself. just literally for the fun of it and to enjoy the environment, because the government treats you like garbage. They don't give a fuck about you. And it's very opposite. Not even just the government, like the people here. It's totally socially acceptable to be racist. And that's the thing that people don't get. Racism exists everywhere, but unlike in Asia, and specifically unlike in Japan, it's not culturally acceptable. For example, in the US, you can be a racist little white troll online all you want to and wave your little, KKK flag and whatever type of bullshit, but you're not going to dare to do that in public, in person, because you will be shamed for it. You will lose your job. People will not want to hang out with you and talk to you. In Japan, you can say anti-Chinese, anti-American stuff all you want to. Ain't nobody going to do shit to you. You can have a good job, a career, wife, kids, everything. Nothing's going to hurt you. You can just say whatever you want to. It's okay to be racist. It's okay to be sexist here. Nobody cares. You can openly discriminate against hiring or renting to foreigners. Foreigners are even okay with you doing that. They don't mind. Foreigners here are so brainwashed and so busy trying to be Japanese. And I'm actually part of me, I'm going to take back what I said. Part of me is kind of glad that all of this mess happened, because it literally opens up their eyes and teaches the dumb weeboos here that are so stuck up Japan's ass. It shows them you will never be Japanese. This is a prime example of that. They're showing their ass right now. They're about to lose the Olympics, and instead of accepting the fact that even with these numbers going up, these are lies. The numbers are way higher. This country is treating the virus so different. I said this before in another video, but unlike in the US, where y'all are proud and showing off the fact that you have the virus, y'all want to take 50 selfies in the hospital, y'all recording videos, showing us your cough, showing us your test results, everything. In Japan, you got the virus, you hide away from the world. And if you do talk to the media, they're going to muffle your voice and disguise it. You're going to wear a whole costume and everything, and they're going to have you hiding behind a black curtain. You don't want to be seen here. Everything is being hidden. People are killing themselves here over going to a hospital. They don't want to get help. They don't want to help the people here. They want to make the country look good, and they're trying to make back that money that they lost from the Olympics. And to be honest, I hope they don't get the Olympics. I hope they lose even more money, because at this point, Japan definitely deserves it. How are you going to be hosting the Olympics and whatever that little chief guy was on the board or whatever, saying sexist stuff about how the meetings wouldn't last so long if they didn't have women there or whatever? What? What type of 17th century crap was that to say? Then he wasn't going to apologize for it and wasn't going to step down. They literally had to guilt you from the stepping down. And then, of course, Japanese people played along with it because they got embarrassed in front of everyone and pretended like, oh, it's just dinosaur people. We don't talk like that. Bullshit. It's totally culturally acceptable and normal here. But of course, when Japan gets put in front of everybody, when they get shamed in front of the world, then that's when they try to make changes. Then that's when they acknowledge stuff. For example, a lot of people got mad at Naomi Osaka. They didn't like the fact that she was being outspoken and talking about racism, because Japanese people don't believe in racism. She's a sellout. She's not one of us. They don't like that. You're not supposed to draw attention to yourself. Just play the sport and shut up. That's what Japanese people do. They want you to act like a fucking robot. And when you break out of their little stupid system, then they get mad at you. And I hope that these articles and these situations help you stupid foreigners, especially white people, because y'all be the main ones that be defending racist shit here. And then when something finally happens to you, like you see these girls are just using you for money and babies and they run off with your son, then all of a sudden you change your mind. Then Japan isn't this perfect, marvelous place anymore. It takes somebody kidnapping your child. Then you're like, oh, Japan's laws are horrible. I miss the US. Yeah, now you miss the US, huh? Now you miss that government protection it used to have, don't you? It takes the media telling people to avoid you specifically. Then you're like, oh, maybe things aren't all cupcakes and rainbows here. Don't take my word for it. Wait until you get put into a situation where you have to personally experience something firsthand, where you are being hurt, where you are at a disadvantage simply because you are not Japanese. This isn't even a matter of us trying to be seen or accepted as one of them. Just decent respect. Y'all already racist as fuck. Y'all already avoid us like hell. Why would you publish in the media, not just wear a mask, don't eat out, but specifically, don't do it with foreigners? Okay. You might as well just tell foreigners that we're not allowed in restaurants. And you best believe, thanks to these little stupid ass announcements, there's going to be more places, small places at least, that say, oh, we don't accept foreigners. They were having that crap happen last year in Japan. There are places that were not allowing Asian tourists to come inside. Once again, they can do it in Japan. But anytime a Japanese person goes abroad, let them go to the UK. Let them go to the US. And they can't wait to come back and tell you their stories of racism and discrimination. And if it happens to them there, they might not be willing to be an activist here in Japan, but they'll take that opportunity to become an activist overseas. They'll do it there. Do you see the double standard? And I can't stand it. And then even like the issue with Asian Americans too, it's the same situation. People that don't have our back, they want us to have theirs. I'm aware of the ones that do and have supported us. I'm aware of the half Asian, half Japanese, half Korean, whatever people. You are the exception to the rule. But let's talk about the majority of y'all, because y'all most certainly do be racist as fuck. Look at the stores that Asians own inside of our communities. From hair supply stores, beauty supply stores, nail salons, ethnic, restaurants, whatever, like Chinese restaurants, Korean food restaurants, etc. They treat Black people like garbage. They shitted on Black Lives Matter. But then when your Asian hate movement starts, why aren't we getting the same media coverage and attention as Black Lives Matter? Why aren't we getting this? Why don't we have that? Oh, now you want our help and support. What were you saying about Black Lives Matter again? Right. I don't support hating of anybody. But I also don't support people that don't support me. And so that really it just aggravates me so much, because once again, they were singing a whole nother song with the Black Lives Matter protests. Asian hate, I ain't hear not a single person complain. Nobody said, why are we having this? We don't need this. It didn't become a political thing like how Black Lives Matter did. It was just understandable. Hey, don't hate Asian people. Why is me saying that my life matters political? Nobody said I'm better than you. I'm just saying, hey, just like you, I'm important. Don't kill me. Don't hurt me. Give me the same respect you would give another person. That's it. But that's political, because God forbid a Black person matters. Don't hate Asian people. Asian lives matter. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, all Asians don't have coronavirus. Everybody understands that. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay. That's not political, though. All right. I don't get it. I really don't. So I'm done. I could literally go on with this forever, but it's little things like that. You have not just the media, but medical centers telling people we are responsible. The overwhelming majority of this company is pure, born and raised ethnically Japanese people, not biracial people, not half people, not foreigners, not whites, not nothing else. It is Japanese people. Who's not following the stay-at-home rules? Japanese people. Who's going on vacation? Japanese people. Who left the country when this virus crap was going on? Foreigners. We were all getting emails from our embassies and seeing messages online telling us to go. People were quitting jobs like crazy last year. And now you're blaming us. People were dropping out of school. Nobody wanted to be here anymore. Yes, there are new people that are here. Yes, there are people that have been let back in, etc. But so have Japanese people. There are tons of Japanese people that have left and re-entered the country since this whole virus has started. People are going to Hawaii, doing all type of unnecessary travel. But y'all don't count them. They're not responsible for the spread. When you try to trace stuff back, you conveniently only look at foreigners. And even then, there's bullshit statistics and numbers put out for that stuff. Keep in mind that the numbers are going up here, but that's with people that actually have gone to the hospital. Imagine how much higher the number is with regular people living their day-to-day life that have refused to go to the hospital, refused to go to a clinic because they don't want to be told they have the virus and feel the shame. They are literally treating COVID like it's HIV. I'm not even exaggerating. They're fucking crazy. But again, where are the problems? It's us dirty peasant foreigners, not Japanese people, always. It's not just this virus situation. This is literally just shedding light to what they really think of us and how they feel about us. Because anytime something goes wrong, we will always be third-class citizens to Japanese people. We are blamed for everything. We're the last to get information. We're the last to be helped. We're the last to be acknowledged. And anytime something good happens, they take credit for it too. You have a nice personality, like for example, Naomi Osaka. They kept trying to attribute that to her Japanese-ness. Okay, last time I checked, what is she? Is she Haitian? I forgot what she was. Whatever she is, the black side of her. Who's to say that it has nothing to do with her dad's side of the family? Like, why is everything always attributed to the Japanese part? Everything is Japanese if it's good. If it's bad, if it's negative, oh, it must be the foreign side of you because Japanese people aren't like that. They don't do that. Anything good that a person does is always Japanese. Anything good about this country is because of the Japanese, not the foreigners. They were literally patting themselves on the back for having the numbers down last year and attributing it to them having good hand washing skills and cleanliness. You've got to be fucking kidding me. There's weeboos in the comment sections on other videos, other channels that be worshiping how clean Japan is. And like I said before, if you're stupid or new to Japan, like during your first year, you don't notice it. Because at first, if you're anything like me, you're like, wow, everything's so clean here. Because it is physically clean. Like they have their janitors go in and out of bathrooms and clean stuff constantly. I'll give them that. But the problem is, it's only clean to the naked eye. Visually, there's no trash. But they don't sanitize stuff. They literally like wet a towel, spritz one spray, but one little spritz of, cleaner on it. And they would use that same rag to clean toilets, sinks, floors, everything. On everything. They're cheap. Same dirty mop they've had for God knows how long. Same dirty sponges. Same dirty ass broom. They don't replace shit. They don't empty out vacuums. They don't wash their hands. And there's no hot water or soap at 90% of places. And when there is soap, there's never hot water in public. I can literally count the times I've used a sink that had hot water or even warm water in Japan. And I've been here for a long time. I'm not new here. And I've been to several different cities, both suburban areas, countryside, and major city. It ain't got shit to do with y'all cleaning your hands. When you don't test people, shame them if they do get tested and are positive for it. Encourage people if they do feel sick, not in a good way to stay at home, but rather in a, if you do feel sick, don't stay home per se, but hide the fact that you're feeling sick and pretend like you're okay. There's sick people getting on trains, going to stores, doing everything as usual and normal, pretending like, oh, it's hay fever, it's whatever. Bitch, you ain't got no damn hay fever, you sick. And for all I know, you might have the virus. They're lying to you. I've gotten into arguments with Japanese people because they want to talk to me about how America's case is. And when I tell them Japan isn't doing any better, they're just lying to you. They lose their shit because they have so much faith in their media. They really do believe anything their news tells them. Their news could tell them the Japanese people are the superior race, which they already think that. They'd be like, I knew there was something special about me. That's why my last name was this. They're literally that fucking delusional and brainwashed when it comes to their culture. There's people that are smart enough to get out of that, but I swear to you, the vast majority of people here have no ability to think for themselves. They literally have sheep-like minds. Whatever the government tells them, whatever the media tells them, they fucking believe it. There is almost no uproar and complaining about people not getting vaccines. There's almost no complaints about the way they've handled this virus situation. The only thing that makes people upset is that stores are closing early. That's what people are complaining about. They never did a thing where they shut down all bars or all entertainment places have been closed. They've encouraged places to do it. And some of the bigger places have done it, but the ones that have done it are really American companies, like Disney World, for example, or Disneyland, I should say, and USJ. Starbucks has been closed before. All things that have been done by choice. They want money. They don't care about you. They don't care about your health. And they sure as hell don't care about us foreigners. They don't care about causing more division. And then, of course, they just put a little choppy-ass apology. They took back a little stupid document in the end and basically said, oh, we didn't think about that. They blamed the wording and a poor translation. Bitch, you ain't no damn poor translation. That's equivalent to the fuckboys that'll message you and be like, do you like sex? Or sex? Or, say something super vulgar and direct to you. And then when you call them out for it, oh, sorry, I don't speak English well. Yeah, that definitely was the translation device. You must have meant to say hello and it typed eggplant dick sex. Yes, definitely bad translation. Bullshit. They need to formally apologize. They need to correct the crap that they're saying and think about themselves. Think about their friends and family living abroad, because that would not be okay for us to say in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in New York, the three places that have a vast majority of them because they come there as students. I know there's a lot of Asians in Seattle too, but I'm talking about people that come there to be a student and for work in particular. They would lose their crap. It would make the news here if we released a statement like that. In Japan, they do it. They hush it, keep it quiet. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Oh, bad translation error. They can't even fucking apologize. They don't own up to shit. They do something bogus and wrong to you. Instead of saying, hey, we're wrong, we fucked up, we shouldn't have done this. Pull it off air. Don't send out any more of those letters. Oh, bad translation. Never a formal, we fucked up apology. How are you supposed to heal and get over that type of stuff? You can't formally apologize. And on top of that, this is how I see it. If you're going to apologize, I need it to, one, be public so that the same people that got those stupid letters and heard that crap can see and hear it. And two, you need to educate everyone on what you found out and what's true. Because just saying I made a translation error, it doesn't correct the fact that what you said was wrong. You left the door open still. You're not taking back what you said. You're just saying I shouldn't have said it that way. Do you see the issue? That'd be the equivalent of in the US, instead of us saying like, hey, being Asian doesn't mean that you had the virus. That's not fair. These people are born and raised here, never been to China, blah, blah, blah. And instead we just said, don't hate Chinese people or don't hate Asian people because they have the virus. Just because, they might have the virus doesn't mean that they're not human too. What does that do? It leaves the door open. It leaves the implication that all Asians have the coronavirus. All Asians are potentially carriers of it. But don't hate them because they're human. It's a backhanded apology. You're essentially saying, be nice to these people, but they're probably infected with something that you don't want. And you basically just did that to us. You told Japan, you told Japanese people, be fearful of foreigners. Don't get too close to them. Don't eat with them. Don't talk to them. Keep your gear on at all times, which you should be doing anyway, but you singled us out. And then you say, it was a translation error, but you never say that information isn't true or it's misleading. And you don't mention it needs to be done with Japanese people as well. There was no reason to single that out. And let's be real. How many Japanese people have foreign friends or foreign family members or foreign people that they know on a personal level where they're going out to eat with them, talking to them, etc.? Almost no one. And that stupid ass statement is even more retarded, more stupid. I'm not being politically correct. I'm talking to you, saying how it is. Because this is hurting us that work here. A lot of us are teachers. We do translation work. We teach you and your children English. And now you're teaching our students, adults, and teenagers that can actually understand these messages, and kids who get this information from their parents and will come back to my class and share that with me. You're telling them to be afraid of me. You're telling them to make sure that they are fully protected only when they're around me, because I'm the danger, not them, not your friends, not your family, specifically me. They already believe this stuff before we had masks and everything else. I was already seen as the infectious person. You go somewhere as a foreigner, specifically a Black person, nobody wants to stand next to you. Nobody wants to sit next to you. You're always the last one out of desperation. You're the default choice when there's nothing else to choose from. Maybe. People would rather stand on the train for 2 hours than sit next to my Black ass. And now you're telling people to actually avoid me. Because even although I've never been to China, and I'm not Asian like how you are, I am very likely to have this virus because I'm an American. It's so hurtful, so ignorant, and such poor taste. And again, same people act like big ass crybabies when they experience racist crap in the US or in the UK, etc. But how soon they forget when they get back to their home country. This country has spent all of their time looking at America's media, looking at Europe. Literally, I've said this before. They've been joking about Trump. They've been joking about European countries that have been going massless since day one. They've been making fools out of everybody, but they've been showing nothing from here until recently. And even then, 100 cases, 1,000 cases. You an idiot if you believe the cases are just now going up. You're also stupid if you believe that's all the cases that they had. It's way more than that. People are dying. They're not testing people. People are lying, and so are hospitals. They will never be real with us. There's no social distancing. There's no hot water. They're not even stressing the washing your hands thoroughly with hot water part because they know that this country doesn't have hot water everywhere. They're not equipped to handle that. It's like a third world country. This is the same country that got squatter toilets, you guys. Like they always glorify the whole little super toilet thing, but it's like they don't have super toilets everywhere. In fact, what good is it to have a super toilet when you have a bathroom that has one super toilet and then 90% of them are squatters? So, and people try to act like those toilets are good to use. Like, bullshit. Nobody wants to stand and balance themselves when you're trying to take a shit. That's all I have to say. But we ain't finna get into all of that crap. So, it really makes me so upset, so angry. And I'm over it. I'm over it. I really wish Japan would stop doing crap with that. And I really wish people would stop using the term xenophobic because it's literally a synonym for racist. I made a video on that talked about that already. But aside from that, it's literally a distraction, a scapegoat, and it's misleading because a lot of people don't know what xenophobic means. It literally is a synonym for racist or racism, prejudice or whatever. And with that said, people think that it's a soft way of saying it and that someone that's xenophobic isn't racist. It's literally saying I'm racist, but my excuse is I'm ignorant and I lack experience, which that's literally exactly what racism is. Someone who's ignorant, because if you were intelligent, you wouldn't be racist. Simple as that. And with that said, okay, xenophobic is racist. Stop making up BS excuses. Someone deliberately saying they're avoiding you because of your race, because they believe you have this virus, this disease, is racist in itself. If I were in the US and I go to Chicago and I get on the L train and I'm on a red line and I say, hey, all you Asian hoes, stay away from me. I don't want you opening up your bento and it starts smelling like cat in here. Because then they're going to think that I eat cat and I don't eat cat. That's what y'all do. I don't want you to start speaking to me in Chinese. I don't want to start hearing Korean. I don't want you to ask me how to get to the Willis Tower in Korean. So I'm going to sit over here away from you. Would that be acceptable? No, it would not. You would see it as racist. You would call it out and your feelings would be hurt if everywhere you went and you sat down, people got up and moved away. Or if the place was really crowded and there's clearly a seat on the side of you and nobody wants to sit in it because you're there. You would not be okay with that. Your feelings would be hurt. You would be crushed. You would not just brush it off and be like, oh, well. You can do it the first time, the second time, the third time. Try dealing with that year after year after year. Try getting rejected for a place openly because of your race. Not I think maybe it was because I'm Asian. Maybe it was because I'm Chinese. No. Imagine someone directly saying, sorry, we don't rent to Chinese people. Sorry, we don't rent to Japanese people. Sorry, we don't serve Korean people. You would be so heartbroken, so hurt. You can't imagine the pain that we go through. And with that said, it is so insulting that a lot of these people, they have English ability, meaning that you've been taught by foreigners. You've gone abroad. Japan loves Hawaii. Y'all fucking worship our country. You watch our movies. You listen to our music. You want to look like our people. You admire our models, our actors, our everything. And you have the audacity to turn back around, stab us in the back, and believe and say racist stuff to us. I've seen dudes literally trying to dress and look like a fucking black guy. You are wearing my culture's clothes. You are wearing our hairstyle. You got dreads and everything. And you have the audacity to be racist? That would be like me being here in Japan. Here I am. And I put on, I don't know, Hatsune Miku outfit. And I go walking around in public. And anytime I sit down, if a Japanese person sits next to me, I have to move over 3 seats and I feel disgusted. Spray myself down with hand sanitizer. I've literally had people do that to me. And it's like, how are you trying to look like me and obsessed with my culture and playing my music? And you don't like me. And you see it the other way too. You will literally see Japanese people that have blonde hair, blue contacts in, and will have in their profile, Japanese only. No foreigners, please. Okay. The audacity, the irony. Or to even just directly be racist. Y'all go around spending your whole lives, Asians in general, trying to look white, be white, act white, etc. And then when you encounter people who are, you treat them like trash. Because again, I was speaking about myself, but really, there's a much bigger picture. This is just my own experience. They're talking about foreigners. Ibaraki don't have no large population of black people. When they say foreigners, they're dealing with Asians and white people. There's probably 5 black people in that whole damn prefecture, and 2 of them probably in my comment section. So with that said, this is hurting you all. And it's stupid. You're discriminating against people within your own race. All of you are Asian at the end of the day. It's dumb. Why are you nitpicking between Chinese and Vietnamese or whatever else? It's all stupid. Japan does not have the virus under control. You guys are more infected than any other race, ethnicity, or nationality within this country. It is Japanese people first. Yes, bringing in foreigners isn't making it any better, and it's not because they are foreigners, but rather because you are taking people that are coming from areas that were dealing with the infection and bringing them within the country, bringing in new strains and viruses, etc. I'm not going to deny science and the truth. I get that part. But for you to be specifically warning people to only avoid us and not yourselves is beyond insulting, because you're not taking into account the majority of Japanese people who are filling up these planes that are re-entering the country after having left for unnecessary vacations to Okinawa or Hawaii, or business trips to China that could have waited, or Vietnam or Korea. You're not blaming any of these people. It's only us. It's always us. You got the stupid ass go-to travel campaign. But again, it's foreigners' fault. It's never Japanese people. So I'm officially done. Like I said, this video will go on forever. I'm just so tired of it and over it. And I really hope that one day you all open up your eyes and realize that your doo-doo stank too. And you are capable of doing bad things. And you are capable of making mistakes. And you are capable of bringing in viruses and causing problems. It's not just a foreigner thing. And I said this before, and it sounds ignorant, but I'm going to say it again. I am so grateful to God. So grateful to God that Ebola did not get as bad as this virus did. Because if they treated us like shit back then with that, imagine how Asians would be treating us right now if we were responsible for this. I cannot imagine being in Japan right now. That would probably actually make me leave the country. So for you white people that want me to leave, you better get on your knees and pray to God that happens. Because yeah, that's probably the only thing that will. Asians are extremely racist here. I'm just going to keep it completely real with you. They are. And specifically Japanese people. It hurts. It's sad to say. I'm not sugarcoating it. It's not a couple of people. It's a lot, and it's most of them. People will smile in your face, be nice, they'll fuck you, they'll be your friend, etc. But behind your back, they'll be racist as fuck. Before they met you, racist as fuck. Nobody's going to be friends with you or talk to you and say, hey, yeah, I'm racist. Hey, yeah, I don't like your race. Hey, yeah, I don't like your country. Get some secret recordings of them before you guys met. See what they were like with their group of friends before they were hanging out with you. What did they talk about? What did they say? What did they watch on TV? What entertainment did they have? It more than likely dealt with things that were stereotyping and being racist and prejudiced towards you. They changed their mind after they met you. I know firsthand. I cannot tell you how many guys I have dated. I've said this before, who have specifically told me that, they don't like this race of people or they don't hang out with this group. And I can't tell you how quickly I broke off things either. And in their mind, they're probably like, huh? But for me, it's like, if you don't like Chinese people, you don't like Korean people, how the hell can you like me then? You don't even like your own race. Anyone with a brain is not going to be like, well, I'm glad they're not prejudiced against me. I don't think like that. I know there's some white people that do, but I don't think like that. It's a package deal. If you're going to say you're not racist, it should be not racist towards anyone. I'm not racist towards you, but I don't like these people. I've literally even come across profiles where people will say no Chinese, no Indian, no black, not no black. I've never seen nobody say no black people. I've seen people say like no Chinese, no Korean, and even no Indian, which that one's rare. But it's like, okay, if you say that you're not going to talk to these people, why did you swipe right on me? Why are you messaging me? Why are you in my DMs then? Because any black person with a brain is not going to be like, oh, okay, well, he just said he doesn't like Chinese people. I'm not Asian, I'm black, so I'm lucky, yay. Who wants to marry, date, or be friends with the racists? So, I'm officially done. Thank you for watching. Throw your 2 cents into the comments. How did this personally make you feel, especially if you're living in Japan? It really hurt to read that. I'm glad she showed it to me because I probably wouldn't have saw it. But it really hurts because this is already a problem, and it's literally just feeding, the fires, adding fuel to the fire. It's not like this is some type of new problem that doesn't exist. It's already existed. This pandemic by itself made it worse. And now when you have the media and medical experts and professionals and officials in the government on TV even telling you, don't do this, don't do that with foreigners, or blaming us for the increase in numbers, saying, oh, it's because of foreigners, instead of saying, no, it's because of Japanese people that have still been going out, doing their thing, getting drunk, going to parties, everything else. It's because of that. Either blame us all or just blame your own people. But don't you dare try to single us out and make it seem like this is just a foreigner problem. That most certainly is not the case. This country is so racist, so messed up, and I really hope that it changes someday for my kids and you all's kids' future, because this is a hot mess. And I'm actually kind of grateful for things like this because it made me happy. When I went to that comment section for the first time in probably my life, I finally saw all of the foreigners get together and everyone was basically bashing it and talking about how stupid it is and how their wife left or whatever else type thing. That was good to see, because normally when racism is talked about, everybody's going, back and forth for, oh, I agree with the Japanese on this. I wouldn't rent to a foreigner either. There's just people, just doing whatever. And with that part, I understand it, but it's racist is what I'm trying to get at. I would not ever say that. So there's truths to everything. Like I said before, I can understand why a Japanese person wouldn't want to rent to a foreigner, but it doesn't make it right. I can understand why a Japanese person would feel fearful of getting the virus from somebody that just came from overseas. But that's totally different from the media telling you specifically the cases are only going up because of foreigners and telling you only avoid going out with foreigners. That is the difference. So let me know your thoughts. Give me your 2 cents in the comments. And as always, if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. You can add me on Snapchat at Comic the Savior. And that is all for right now. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will watch another video.